Hello. Welcome to the Learn English Lab. Today's deep dive is From Beginner to Advanced, your 2026 English Learning Plan.
Hello. And, we really want to be clear about this.
Yeah.
We aren't just here to recommend a few apps or, toss out some quick study tips.
No, this is much bigger than that. Our mission today is to build you a comprehensive, a really flexible roadmap for your entire year of English study.
No matter where you are starting from.
Exactly. Whether you're at day one or you've been stuck at intermediate for a while.
That's right. This isn't just a general overview. We're thinking of this as a strategic blueprint.
A blueprint, I like that.
Yeah. We've structured this deep dive to give you actionable, level-appropriate strategies for everything: listening, speaking, reading, and writing.
The goal being to take you from that foundational understanding.
All the way through to C2 proficiency, a complete journey.
And the timing for this kind of planning feels, well, critical, especially now in 2026.
It really is. We've seen English move so far past just being a useful skill.
Oh, absolutely. It's become the lifeblood of the modern interconnected world.
Mm-hmm. When you think about international work, scientific collaboration, even just our digital lives.
English is basically the default operating system.
It is. And it's more than just a language for communication. It's the power source for global systems.
What do you mean by that specifically?
Well, it enables international diplomacy, for one. It allows you to access, something like 80% of the world's research publications?
80%, wow.
And this is what I find fascinating. It is the primary language that's powering all these AI conversations. It's opening up global knowledge bases.
So if you really want to engage fully with the digital world, the professional world, the scientific world,
English is just non-negotiable at this point.
it truly is the engine of global connection. But, for a listener just starting out, that skill can feel, well, pretty overwhelming.
Of course.
They might be thinking, oh, I'm not naturally good at languages.
An old story.
Let's bring this down to earth. Let's talk about a story that proves linguistic talent is way less important than strategy and persistence.
I think that's a perfect idea. We often talk about the success story of Mariko from Japan.
Right.
In 2025, she landed her absolute dream job, a role that required near-native fluency.
And her background wasn't years and years of expensive private tutoring, was it?
Not at all. It was this really clever, organic approach she developed.
Her system was so pragmatic. I love it. She immersed herself not through textbooks, but through, well, necessity.
Exactly. She used high-stakes online gaming communities.
Where you have to communicate immediately or you lose.
Right. And she used YouTube not just for entertainment, but for really deep listening immersion.
And she tied it all together with this relentless, just consistent daily practice routine.
And her success, it really hinged on two key factors, not some innate gift.
What were they?
Smart routines, number one. And number two, a profound willingness to sound foolish at the beginning.
That's the big one, isn't it? The willingness to sound silly.
It is. She understood that early mistakes are not signs of incompetence. They're proof that you are trying to produce language.
Which is the only way to actually improve.
The only way. She just embraced the struggle, which really is the foundation of the entire plan we're about to lay out.
Okay, so let's unpack that core idea, because that willingness to be vulnerable, to make mistakes, it connects directly to the psychological framing of learning.
It does.
We're talking about so much more than just acquiring a vocabulary here.
It's fundamental skill building. It's neurological development.
And this is where we need to anchor our entire deep dive, right? The growth mindset principle.
Yes. Our core message, if you take away one thing, it has to be this. Stop telling yourself you are bad at languages.
Please, yes.
Language learning is a skill set. It's like learning to code or learning to play the piano.
And skills are built.
Skills are built through consistent, structured practice, period.
So we need to completely shift the frame. Mistakes aren't evidence that you're failing.
No, they're data points. They just show you what needs a bit more work.
But what's the physical evidence? What's happening in our brains that proves the struggle is actually helping?
Neuroscience confirms this directly.
Yeah.
Every single time you use English.
Especially when it's hard.
Yes. Especially when you struggle to formulate a sentence or get your head around a new grammar rule, you are physically forming new neural pathways.
So that feeling of struggle, that cognitive load?
That's literally the construction phase of a new ability in your brain. It is the necessary, healthy friction that leads to growth.
So if you're struggling...
You are learning. It's working.
Okay. If that struggle is so essential, then the question becomes, how do we channel that effort into knowledge that actually sticks.
Right, retain knowledge.
We're throwing so much information at our brains. How do we optimize memory for, long-term mastery?
We have to rely on established cognitive science to make the learning efficient. We can't just brute force it.
Okay, so where do we start?
The first, and I would argue the most important technique, is spaced repetition.
And this isn't just, looking over your notes once in a while.
No. It's a strategic, scheduled system.
So walk us through the mechanics of that. For someone who's only ever used, cramming for a test, what does this look like in practice?
It's all about working with your brain's natural forgetting curve, not against it.
The forgetting curve.
Yes. You review new material right before your brain is about to let it go. So you learn a new word today.
Okay.
You review it tomorrow. That's day 1. Then you might skip 2 days and review it again on day 3.
And then the gaps get bigger.
Exactly. Then you might wait a week, then a month. The intervals between reviews increase exponentially.
And the strategic revisiting, it forces the information from your shaky short-term memory
Into your robust long-term memory banks. Tools like Anki or Memrise are built entirely on this principle. They're absolutely essential for serious learners.
That system makes so much sense. You're basically tricking your brain into prioritizing the information.
Or,
But we can't just stare at flashcards all day. How do we increase engagement to lock that information in even deeper?
this is key. We have to ensure multisensory engagement. Passive learning is weak learning.
So you need to involve as many senses as possible.
In every single interaction with the language. When you learn a new phrase, you shouldn't just see it written down.
Okay.
You must hear its correct pronunciation. You need to write it out by hand. And this is the most critical part. You have to actively use it in a relevant sentence that you produce.
So that's the 4-part loop: seeing, hearing, writing, and speaking it.
That loop is what creates dense, stable neural connections. It makes the knowledge robust.
But, all the best memory techniques in the world will just fall apart if the fuel runs out.
Motivation.
Motivation is fleeting, but consistency is learned. How do we make sure that you, the listener, don't just abandon this whole plan after 8 weeks?
The motivation needs to be deeply personally anchored. We have to move beyond this abstract idea of I want to speak English
To what?
to concrete, tangible rewards. You have to clearly define why you are putting in the work.
So, is it to connect with a specific client? To enjoy foreign movies without subtitles?
Or to make new friends on an upcoming trip. You need that specific emotional goal.
And what about that crucial step of making your progress visible? Because sometimes, especially on that intermediate plateau, it can feel like you're just spinning your wheels.
100%. You have to celebrate the small, specific victories.
Don't wait until you pass the big advanced exam.
No. Celebrate when you understand 90% of a simple news clip, or when you successfully navigate a phone call in English.
Or when you read your first English novel without reaching for the dictionary every 5 minutes.
Yes. Visible progress bridges that gap between the difficulty of the task today and the enormous benefit you'll get tomorrow.
We see this principle in action across so many successful learners. I'm thinking of Lena from Colombia.
Oh, great example.
Her progress just skyrocketed simply by altering how she practiced her output. She committed to sending daily voice messages on WhatsApp to her language partners.
It's a genius, low-stakes way to practice by using voice messages instead of typing.
She was forced to actually speak.
To articulate her thoughts, deal with spontaneity, and overcome that cognitive friction of speaking, all in a safe, non-judgmental digital space.
That daily high-frequency output was just transformative for her fluency.
Absolutely. And then you have Kofi in Ghana, who focused on mimicry and reflection.
He practiced shadowing TED Talks.
Yes. Listening to a native speaker and immediately repeating what they said, he wasn't just focused on the words.
But on matching the intonation, the stress, the rhythm.
The whole music of the language is such a powerful pronunciation tool.
And Kofi took the psychological work a step further, didn't he? He kept a proud mistakes journal.
I think that's one of the most powerful concepts we've ever encountered. It completely reframes the idea of errors.
Instead of being ashamed of mistakes, he logged them as evidence of linguistic risk-taking.
Right. It was like, today I confidently used the past perfect tense, but I messed up the preposition, proud of the risk.
That is a complete psychological weapon against perfectionism.
It really is. And think about Stefan from Germany. He showed that you don't have to move abroad for full immersion.
He forced English into his existing social life.
He joined international book clubs and hosted virtual meetups about his passion, which was photography.
So English became the vehicle for his social connection.
which makes the practice rewarding in itself, not a chore.
Okay, so synthesizing this whole foundation, mindset, memory, motivation, what is the one action item for you right now as a listener to lock all this in?
We strongly, strongly recommend this creative exercise. Write a letter to your future fluent self.
And don't just list your goals.
No, describe the scene, the job you'll be doing, the feeling of successfully navigating that foreign city, the joke you'll tell a new friend.
The specific opportunity English will have enabled for you in 1 year or 3 or 5.
Exactly. This grounds that abstract dream in concrete sensory detail. It becomes your ultimate motivational anchor.
A promise you're making to the most successful version of yourself. Okay. Once we have that mental scaffolding built, the growth mindset is there, the motivation is locked in, where do we start laying the first actual bricks?
We move into level 1, beginner foundations, A1 and A2 proficiency.
And for a brand new learner, information overload is the quickest way to get them to quit.
It's the enemy of progress. So the critical strategy here is ruthless prioritization.
Meaning,
We have to focus on survival English essentials, the vocabulary and phrases that provide rapid, immediate functionality.
you need to be able to navigate the world right away to build that initial confidence.
You do.
So what are those core categories that unlock that basic functioning?
Well, greetings, of course.
Yeah.
You immediately move to the core practical language, numbers and time,
Crucial for dates, scheduling, understanding prices.
all of it. And then directions and locations, the whole where is category. If you can master those, you can handle basic transactions and find essential services.
And beyond those absolute survival phrases, what about daily life topics?
We prioritize the immediate environment, shopping, food, basic descriptions of your family, and the essential vocabulary for your work or school,
High-frequency language you will actually use every single day.
which ensures the concepts transfer directly from learning to real-world application.
Now, in terms of grammar, this is where beginners often get totally overwhelmed by endless verb tables and rules.
Right.
What is the absolute linguistic skeleton we need to build first?
Focus relentlessly on the highest frequency verbs. I mean, if you master to be, to have, and to like, you have unlocked the vast majority of simple sentence construction.
And you pair those with?
The most basic adjectives,
Yeah.
big, small, good, bad, easy, difficult. These are the descriptive tools that give your simple sentences immediate power.
And probably the most important survival tool for any beginner is being able to ask for help.
Correct. The key question words are non-negotiable. What, where, when, and how.
Mastering those immediately changes you from a passive listener.
Into an active inquirer. You can seek information, clarification, direction. It exponentially speeds up your learning just out of sheer necessity.
Okay, let's get prescriptive. If you're listening and you want to start tonight, what is the day 1-7 personalized starter routine?
We recommend microdoses of consistent effort. Your brain can handle 10 minutes much better than a punishing 2-hour session.
So, in the morning.
Dedicate just 10 minutes to vocabulary flashcards. Use a spaced repetition tool. This maximizes retention right after you've slept.
And the middle of the day is for passive input.
Yes. Sometime in the afternoon, shift to passive intake. Listen to a short, simple podcast or a basic video designed for learners.
Even if you don't understand everything.
Even if you only understand 40%, you're training your ear to the rhythm and the intonation. You're listening for recognition, not total comprehension.
And then the evening is for production, the hard part.
It is. In the evening, you commit to output. This is what we call micro-journaling.
So just write 2 or 3 simple, perfect sentences about your day.
That's it. For instance, today I bought coffee. The coffee was hot. This forces retrieval and use of the vocabulary you learned and the tenses you know.
And if you're feeling brave, there's an optional step.
Right. The optional step is using voice notes or calling a language partner. Keep it short and sweet.
I really appreciate the emphasis on that short, daily output. But once that first week is done, how does the beginner progress without moving too fast and getting frustrated?
The next step is repetition, while incrementally increasing complexity. We call it the 1% improvement strategy.
So instead of learning a whole new grammar structure,
Just commit to adding one new high-frequency verb per day and integrating it into your daily sentences.
and how do we tackle a major early hurdle like the past tense?
Immediately start pushing your micro-journaling from today's story to yesterday's story.
Oh, that's clever.
If today you wrote, I eat bread, tomorrow you practice writing, yesterday I ate bread. That subtle shift forces you to engage with past tense usage, the first major grammatical hurdle.
This whole approach gives you the linguistic scaffolding you need. Let's break down the 4 skills and the targeted practice for A1, A2 learners, starting with listening.
For listening, you need content that controls the speed and complexity.
Like kids' cartoons.
Kids' cartoons are perfect. The exaggerated visuals and simple vocabulary provide so many necessary context clues. Podcasts like 6-Minute English or English Sing Sing are also designed for clarity.
And in 2026, technology is offering even more immersive training.
Oh, absolutely. The Simple English Stories app has been highly rated because it pairs text, audio, and basic comprehension checks.
And what about immersive listening games?
Simple puzzle games that require basic English commands. They provide low-stress, engaging practice that really taps into that multi-sensory loop.
Now, for speaking, the biggest barrier here is often psychological, right? How do we start producing sounds without that paralyzing self-consciousness?
You start in the mirror. Use mirror practice to repeat phrases out loud. Focus on your mouth position, your articulation. It feels strange at first, but it builds essential muscle memory for speech.
And then you graduate to using voice notes on your phone.
That's the next step.
Give us a simple exercise for that voice note practice.
The immediate environment description. Just look around the room you're in right now. Describe 3 objects.
Using that simple sentence structure and basic adjectives.
This is a chair. The chair is black. I like the chair. Say it, record it, and play it back. It requires 0 external pressure.
Moving to reading, where should beginners find content that is accessible but still engaging?
You have to start with real-world, unavoidable text. Labels, shop signs, public instructions. This makes the language immediately relevant and useful.
And once you're comfortable with that,
Move to graded readers. These are novels that are written specifically with controlled vocabulary levels.
what about online sources for current events?
Websites like newsandlevels.com are excellent. They present the same article in A1, B1, and C1 complexity, so you can progress naturally.
I've also heard comics and graphic novels are great for this.
They are. The visual context is a massive aid for vocabulary comprehension. Don't underestimate them.
And finally, writing, beyond the microjournal.
Keep the writing practical and low pressure. Maintain lists of your likes and dislikes.
That seems simple, but it's really important, isn't it?
It is. It practices basic negation and affirmation. I do not like traffic. You can also practice writing short dialogue scripts for scenarios like ordering coffee. It primes your brain for conversational flow.
And this whole structured beginning is supported by some phenomenal free resources. What are the must-use tools for A1, A2?
Duolingo is still essential, but you have to use the stories section. It helps integrate reading and listening beyond just isolated words.
And the BBC.
BBC Learning English offers mini lessons that are just expertly structured for beginners.
And we should definitely shout out the YouTube channels that provide that foundational clarity.
Oh, for sure. English Addict with Mr. Duncan is great for high-energy foundational grammar. English with Lucy has clear, beginner-focused playlists.
And my personal favorite, Easy English.
The street interviews. They're wonderful because they showcase simple conversation in a natural context, helping you tune your ear to real-world interactions.
Okay, now we crossed the bridge. We're moving into level 2, the intermediate stage, B1 and B2 proficiency.
And this is where most students get really frustrated.
They can manage basic interactions, they can get by, but they struggle to maintain complex, spontaneous conversation. They hit the dreaded intermediate plateau.
The plateau is so real. It happens because the gap between that A2 vocabulary and native level fluency is just vast.
And the old strategies, simple vocabulary lists and basic grammar drills, they just stop working.
They do. You start feeling stuck, just relying on the same 1,000 words over and over.
So the core strategy to break out of that has to be
variety and intensity. You have to stop viewing English as a subject you study and start viewing it as a language you live in.
that transition from subject to environment can be tough to orchestrate if you don't live in an English-speaking country.
It can, which is why you need a rigorous, balanced structure.
Let's detail that week-by-week routine for immersion.
Okay. Start by dedicating certain days to high-output activities. Monday, Wednesday, Friday should include a 20-minute speaking session.
And this has to be structured, right? Not just random chat.
Right, maybe through an online role-play group or a scheduled language exchange partner.
Yeah.
And immediately after that,
what's next?
Listen to a 10-minute news podcast at native speed and force yourself to jot down 3 new vocabulary items you heard.
So high-intensity speaking, followed immediately by authentic input. What about Tuesdays and Thursdays?
Focus those days on deep comprehension and written application. Read a graded article, or even a short, authentic piece that feels a little bit challenging,
And the key step is forcing yourself to summarize the main ideas.
either written or spoken. Then practice some low-stakes, real-world writing. Craft a thoughtful social media comment in English about the topic you just read.
And the weekends, when people generally have more mental bandwidth, should be used for deep media immersion.
100%. Use your weekend to consume complex media, like a Netflix episode, but do it strategically.
What's the strategy?
First, watch it with the English subtitles on. Second, watch it immediately again with the subtitles off. This is where your brain works hardest to fill in the gaps.
And the final step.
Record yourself summarizing the plot. Focus on your tenses, complex character descriptions, and transitions. This synthesizes all 4 skills in a single hour.
To make that routine work, your vocabulary has to grow exponentially, but not just randomly.
No, the intermediate learner needs to organize knowledge thematically.
And that's where the theme week strategy comes in.
Exactly. It's about building functional vocabulary clusters. You choose the theme, say, Food and Restaurants Week.
And for 7 days, you dedicate your consumption and production to that topic.
You might listen to a food review podcast, read an industry blog, watch a cooking show, all on that theme.
But how do you source the specific useful language during that week?
You have to target specific contexts. When you're reading an industry blog, you collect the formal vocabulary, like procurement or culinary innovation.
And when you're watching a reality cooking show?
You're collecting the casual phrases and slang, like to wing it or a total flop.
And then you collect the top 30 or 40 words and phrases for that theme.
And you commit to using 10 of them daily in your communication. An email, a conversation, a journal entry, that forces immediate activation and stops the words from just dying on a list.
That focused effort really shifts vocabulary from just passive recognition to active production. Okay, let's talk about grammar.
The big one.
For intermediate speakers, grammar complexity conditionals, relative clauses, that's often the biggest barrier to progression. How do we make grammar acquisition engaging?
We have to move away from the workbooks. If you're learning in a group, try the grammar auction.
Okay, how does that work?
You give the group sentences, some are correct, some are subtly wrong. They bid on the sentences using points, and only the grammatically correct ones win them the money.
It makes the analysis competitive and fun.
Totally.
What about for individual practice, which is usually a lot drier?
Use online gamified tools. The British Council grammar games are excellent for targeted practice.
And you have another technique, the grammar wall.
Yes. Keep a physical, visible grammar wall at home. This is a wall of sticky notes dedicated not to all grammar rules, but only to the common errors that you personally make.
So if you always overuse the present continuous, a note about that goes on the wall.
As an immediate visual self-correction tool, it targets your precise weaknesses.
Let's move on to conversation confidence. Intermediate learners are fluent enough to start a conversation, but they often freeze up because they're afraid of making a mistake. How do we make them more proactive?
Preparation is the key to removing anxiety. Before any social interaction or online exchange, memorize 5 go-to questions.
Reliable conversation starters you can pull out when there's a lull.
What's the best advice you've received recently? Or what's your favorite movie? Having those ready gives you confidence and structure.
And real-life challenges can help push that comfort zone substantially.
For sure. A great challenge is to volunteer to guide foreigners around your city or your neighborhood.
That forces spontaneous explanation, giving directions, recalling vocabulary about culture and history.
Right. And online, participate in book or movie clubs. You end up focusing on analyzing the content and the ideas, and the language usage starts to feel natural and secondary.
Expanding listening capacity is also crucial here. They need to adjust to native speed. What podcasts should intermediates transition to?
Transition to podcasts like Luke's English Podcast or All Ears English. The speed and complexity are much closer to authentic native conversation.
And how do we ensure they're absorbing, not just hearing?
We introduce active listening.
Okay, let's define that. What's the specific procedure?
It involves more than just passive hearing. After every 3-minute segment of a podcast, you pause the audio.
And then?
And you force yourself to explain out loud in your own words what you just heard.
So it forces immediate comprehension processing and verbal summarization.
If you can summarize it, you understood it. If you can't, you replay that segment. Simple as that.
I think we should also mention the cognitive trick that helps handle faster input at this stage. It's called chunking.
A fantastic point. Intermediate learners often try to translate word for word, which is just impossible at native speed.
So chunking means listening for units of meaning, for whole phrases.
Right. Phrases like, if I were you, or, on the other hand, or I look forward to. You train your ear to hear those phrases as single vocabulary items, not four separate words.
Which speeds up your processing significantly.
Massively.
Okay, for writing, we need to transition from personal journaling to more functional, practical writing.
The writing has to become functional for work or travel. Practice creating reusable email templates for professional situations.
Like, I'm writing to ask. And finally, the digital community aspect is just huge for B1, B2 learners who don't have that physical immersion.
Digital immersion is a non-negotiable tool. Use platforms like Tandem or HelloTalk to find partners worldwide for structured exchanges.
Or for something less formal.
Join Discord servers dedicated to your specific hobbies, gaming, art, coding, whatever you're into. It naturally integrates English into your existing passions.
And for the real cutting edge of immersion, what about virtual reality environments?
VR English meetups in places like Engage or AltSpace VR are transformative. They create this immersive, low-anxiety environment that tricks your brain into thinking you're physically there.
So when you're trying to hand a virtual object to someone or navigate a virtual market,
The need for immediate contextual language forces deep learning, and it improves your situational recall.
okay, now we make the final leap into level 3, advanced and beyond, C1 and C2 proficiency.
And the goal changes dramatically here.
It's no longer about basic understanding or even fluency. It's about precision, style, and sophistication.
That is the perfect way to frame it. The advanced learner has to master how language style shifts based on context.
The difference between talking informally with a friend, writing a formal academic essay, or delivering a persuasive speech.
It's all about that subtle control.
For example, the difference between saying, I will start work quickly, and we should hit the ground running.
Yes, it's about nuance.
Mm-hmm.
It's about sounding native, authentic, engaged.
So how do we start integrating those higher-level sophisticated elements?
You have to move beyond just simple vocabulary and dive deep into idioms and phrasal verbs.
Using dedicated phrase books that compile common idioms.
Expressions like beating around the bush or throwing in the towel or the silver lining, these inject immediate authenticity into your speech because natives use them constantly.
And consuming native media must move from just entertainment to linguistic analysis.
Absolutely. Watching sitcoms and stand-up comedy at this level is crucial for cultural and linguistic analysis.
You need to analyze why the jokes land.
It's about timing, understanding cultural references, detecting subtle cues like sarcasm or irony. If you can understand the humor, you've achieved a really deep cultural fluency.
For many of our listeners, English mastery is tied directly to their career progression. How do we transition this linguistic ability into polished, professional English development?
The application have to be contextualized to your industry. Start by regularly attending free online webinars specific to your professional field.
This forces you to process complex, field-specific terminology at a fast pace.
And practice taking notes and asking precise questions.
What about professional writing platforms like LinkedIn?
Yes. Start writing professional LinkedIn posts in English about your industry insights. Join targeted professional groups and actively contribute to the discussions.
Paying close attention to the formal, concise language that industry leaders are using.
And then, for job applications, you need to create and meticulously polish your CV and your cover letter in professional English.
And rehearsing interviews on camera is mandatory at this stage.
It is. You have to focus not just on the content, but on the precision of your responses, your confident tone, and your ability to use complex phrasing effectively.
A major advanced hurdle is cultural and accent nuance. A C1 speaker might have perfect grammar, but still struggle with intonation or understanding diverse global accents.
This is where you have to utilize modern technology for targeted feedback. Apps like Elsa Speak are fantastic.
Because they use AI to analyze your accent.
And they give you prescriptive feedback on specific vowel sounds or intonation patterns you need to correct.
And how do we train the ear to handle the diversity of global English, British, American, Australian, Indian, and so on?
You need wide, varied exposure. Watch world news from multiple sources. BBC for a UK accent, CNN for a US accent, Al Jazeera for diverse global accents.
This prevents you from being thrown off balance when you encounter a regional variation you haven't focused on.
And to keep up with a living, breathing language, Use Urban Dictionary to track contemporary slang and evolving social phrases. Language is a constantly moving target.
Let's detail the structured four-step plan for consuming native media. This is for the advanced learner who's ready to ditch the learning tools and tackle authentic content head-on.
This is a controlled weaning process, often subtitles. Step 1. Watch the film or show with subtitles in your native language. This is just for global comprehension, enjoying the plot.
Step 2.
Immediately switch to English subtitles. Now you're connecting the sound of the word to its written, grammatically correct form.
This is where the cognitive work really starts to intensify.
It does. Step 3 is the biggest leap. Turn the subtitles off entirely.
This is where you practice active guessing.
Relying solely on context, sound, and visual cues to infer meaning. You stop trying to understand every single word, and you focus on the main idea.
And the final, most advanced step.
Join English film or literary discussion groups. You move from private consumption to public critical analysis, using sophisticated English to dissect plot, character, and style.
For the C1, C2 learner, the ultimate boundary to push is high-stakes communication. We're talking public speaking and leadership.
And that requires structured feedback. You have to record yourself delivering formal speeches and actively seek mentor feedback.
Not just on grammar, but on rhetorical devices, logical flow, and command of the audience.
Exactly. And there are established environments for this high-level practice.
Like Toastmasters International?
Or online debate clubs. The ultimate capstone project for the advanced learner is to write and deliver a persuasive TED-style talk on a topic they're passionate about.
And that demands a total command of rhetorical style.
Structuring complex arguments, using figurative language, maintaining a sophisticated tone. If you can plan, write, and deliver a successful 18-minute talk like that, you've achieved C2 mastery.
The advanced learner should also move beyond just consumption to actual contribution. We need to encourage content creation and publishing.
Use English to showcase your expertise. Submit well-researched articles to platforms like Medium or LinkedIn.
Or create short YouTube or TikTok explainer videos.
That forces you to organize complex, dense thoughts concisely and present them clearly in English.
And then there's the practical application for exam preparation at this level. Let's quickly define the acronyms for the general audience.
Many advanced learners are preparing for certification, IELTS, TOEFL, or the Cambridge exams.
These are high-stakes tests required for university admission or professional visas.
Right. And for readiness, you need to use AI-powered mock exams from services like E2 Language or Magoosh.
Why those?
Because they provide immediate granular feedback on your speaking and writing that is highly personalized and way faster than a human tutor could provide.
And for the Cambridge exams, the writing quality bar is extremely high.
You have to analyze sample essays alongside the examiner's comments, understand exactly what sophisticated cohesion and lexical complexity look like to them, and join online exam club groups for targeted peer feedback.
Okay. We've built the blueprint from A1 all the way to C2. Now, let's highlight the technological landscape of 2026, the smart tools that can support this high-intensity learning journey.
The advancement in AI conversational assistance is revolutionary. I mean, tools like Talkio AI provide instant conversational practice without the anxiety of a human interaction.
So you can practice a job interview, ordering food, debating topics.
24/7. It allows for high-frequency, low-pressure output practice that was just impossible even 5 years ago.
And we keep mentioning VR, which has really moved from a novelty to a legitimate classroom.
Yes, VR environments like Language City offer simulated immersion. When you're tasked with describing a virtual scene or engaging in a virtual transaction, your brain is highly engaged.
Which improves recall dramatically.
Because the learning is so situational and multisensory.
And we shouldn't forget simple voice tech integration.
Not at all. Using voice-controlled flashcard apps or smart assistants is great. Instead of clicking, you use your voice.
Hey AI, quiz me on phrasal verbs related to travel.
And that forces vocal production during the retrieval process, which aids pronunciation and active recall.
To quickly synthesize everything, what's the ultimate categorized resource list we should share?
Okay, for apps, Memrise and Anki for repetition management, Grammarly for advanced writing feedback, and SpeechLink for high-quality speaking and mimicry practice.
Websites.
News and Levels and the ESL podcast remain the gold standards for structured listening.
And the foundational books and pronunciation resources?
For grammar, English Grammar in Use is still the industry standard. For vocabulary, Word Power Made Easy is crucial. And for reading stamina, start with Short Stories in English.
And on YouTube.
Rachel's English is unsurpassed for focused pronunciation. She teaches the subtle mouth movements necessary to get that native sound.
We've emphasized consistency, but how do we ensure you're tracking your progress accurately and objectively?
You need measurable goals. Use a digital goal tracker for setting and reviewing weekly targets. Specific goals.
Like, use 5 new idioms this week, or write 2 paragraphs about my industry.
Exactly. And leverage AI feedback tools like Fluency.
What?
Their algorithms can identify and target your weakest skills. If you consistently fail questions about conditional phrases, the tool pushes you toward content to fix that weakness. It's highly efficient.
And maintaining that progress journal we talked about earlier.
Yes, keep it operational. Once a month, write a summary of your goals and your achievements. That forced reflection makes your progress visible.
And visible progress is the single greatest tool for sustaining motivation long term.
Without a doubt.
But let's address a critical reality, hitting a wall. When motivation flags, or you genuinely feel stuck at that intermediate plateau, how do we troubleshoot getting unstuck?
The first rule is, change the routine. If you're bored, your learning is suffering.
Change the genre of media you consume, switch to a new language partner, find a new app.
Anything to shock the brain back into engagement.
And setting micro goals to restart the engine.
We use SMART mini goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound.
So instead of the vague, get fluent.
Try write 5 professional thank you emails this week, or listen to 3 news podcasts while doing the dishes. These short, achievable bursts reboot the system.
And what about the power of a structured commitment?
Commit to language challenges. A 30-day streak of output, mastering 500 new words in a month, finding 3 new conversation partners in a week. These intense, short bursts of effort provide quick, visible wins that restore your confidence.
Let's address the emotional side of learning, overcoming that paralyzing fear of failure and perfectionism. This is the anxiety that prevents so many B1 speakers from ever progressing to B2.
We have to internalize the idea that mistakes are essential. You have to learn to laugh at your mistakes.
The more you use the language, the more mistakes you make, and the faster you learn.
And share those mistakes publicly with your language buddy. They immediately become funny anecdotes, not paralyzing failures.
That support system is just so essential for emotional resilience.
Find a language buddy specifically for that encouragement, someone who understands the cognitive load of learning. And please remember this powerful fact: everyone forgets words.
Even native speakers.
Even native speakers struggle to articulate complex ideas sometimes. Your current error rate is a sign that you are actively using the language, which is precisely the goal.
Okay, let's tackle some essential, frequently asked questions, starting with the biggest one. What if I have 0 time? The busy professional, the student, the parent.
The answer is micro-learning. You have to utilize those 2 to 5 minute pockets of time you have several times a day.
Change your phone language to English.
Label physical items in your house with sticky notes. Talk to yourself in English while doing mundane chores like folding laundry or walking to the store.
Consistency across those micro sessions far trumps one massive, exhausting session once a week.
It really does.
And the constant quest to sound native, is that a realistic or even necessary goal?
The primary goal has to be clear, effective communication.
Hmm?
But to enhance your sound, practice shadowing extensively.
Listening and repeating immediately.
Use dedicated intonation drills, focusing on where the voice rises and falls. Mimic your favorite movie scenes, focusing not on the words, but on the delivery.
Listen, pause, repeat. Over and over.
That repetition trains the subtle muscles of speech.
What's the final word on grammar obsession?
Grammar is fundamentally important, but you have to prioritize communication first. Aim for clear, functional language that gets your message across.
If you wait until your grammar is perfect to speak, you will never speak.
Never. Striving for grammatical precision is a goal for the advanced stages, not a barrier to speaking right now.
And how do we keep the motivation alive for years, making English a lifelong companion?
You have to integrate English into your identity and your lifestyle. It can't be a chore you check off a list. It has to be a tool for connection and enjoyment.
Use it to foster new friendships, pursue new hobbies, and take enormous pride in the unique global perspective it gives you.
That's what makes it stick.
And the practical step to ensure that long-term engagement.
Join the global community. Volunteer for international organizations that require English communication. Attend real-life language meetups in your city via sites like meetup.com.
Or start a local Speak English Only club,
where members commit to using the language exclusively for an hour a week.
Mm-hmm.
Force English into the fabric of your life
It's the only way.
to synthesize this entire journey for you. The path from absolute beginner to advanced user is not a sprint. It's a strategically managed marathon.
It starts with hello.
It's fueled by the growth mindset, and it's sustained by consistent practice. By leveraging smart technology like AI tutors and VR, and engaging deeply with the global English community, you will inevitably unlock your full potential.
And remember, your English journey is so much more than verb conjugations and vocabulary lists. It's about leveraging this critical skill to unlock the very best version of you. The person who can seize global opportunities, travel confidently, connect with people from entirely different cultures, and fully engage with the world's knowledge base.
It's a transformation.
To enjoy the process of growth. Keep that letter to your future self visible, and if you ever hit a wall, find your language buddies and always, always reinvent your strategy. That is the core of lifelong learning.
It's an adventure that awaits you in 2026.
Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel.